Okay, back again. I just had to check the memory card to make sure that there's still time on it. So let's get back right to it. I just had to make sure that the memory card, I didn't cut away or do anything. If you want to, I'll get my friend to pan over to the area. As you can see, it's still exactly the same, including this, which has, yes, I haven't tested it yet because I want everyone to, see it being tested. As unfortunately, as usual, it looks like this is getting a little loose. I'll have to tend that up later at some point, which I might do, maybe later, maybe not. We'll find out. I actually might do that on camera at some point. I'll have to take this part apart and then show you how you take out these things apart, which will be fun. So we'll do that later. But now, the question is, what do we do with these, right? Well, I'm thinking this version on this, like that. Yeah, I think it would look really cool. It'd be a weird stars model, but unfortunately, I guess the other issue is the fact that it doesn't have that nice little part right there, so I'm probably not going to use this part, but fortunately, I do have one or two other pieces that I have that I want, and we'll use these suckers, which are, unfortunately, I should say on here somewhere. Well, it wasn't, but, let's see, maybe on the handles? KJ something, or maybe I think it has like a KGC or something like that. I don't really remember, but I'll show you that these parts can be used on Wii parts. So I'll just do I'll just have him kind of keep an eye on this for the moment, but I'll just have to grab my parts from the quick back. So just give me a minute. I just need to. Luckily enough, the parts are just I keep the parts just a little bit ways away from me, so you can probably still hear. Okay, that's what that. Let's see what we got in here. I'll use magazines for that and that. Okay, and I need some of those. No, not that. Not that, not that either. Okay, I know I'll do one of those. Just for the replacement. And one of those. Okay, I think that's mostly what I need, more or less. And also, if you're wondering in general, that's my cat. As you can tell, she's a little bit always curious. She always has to poke her nose into everything. Hopefully she doesn't knock anything down. Okay, I got those. I think that might be almost everything. Just give me a few more minutes. Alright, some new handle grips, another one of these because I don't like the current one, those, which will be these, which are actually Wii parts right there, so that's that. Here's the frame I'll be using, which is actually another Barry Burton type, and the little compensator for it. It's a more of a scratched up one because of damage, and here's the magazine, which I will probably have to, it's pretty old, it's one from my really, really old one. I probably will have to replace the O-ring, so we'll do that as well. Now back to work. Now, I use the old hammer from my really, really strong looking one, which was refined, and I want another like really cool looking refined pistol, so that's what I'll be doing. Okay. Just checking the sizing, just to make sure that it might fit. This is a better way to test it, potentially, without maybe doing anything irreparably damageable to the main weapon. Okay, so we might not be able to actually use exactly that certain type of piece. So, what unfortunately I'll have to do is probably modify the current weapon to work with Wii parts. So I'll have to go cross-back compatible, so I won't be able to use this, but we will be using this with somehow. We'll try to figure out a way to make, well, if anything, I might actually make some wood grips myself, because as you can see on here, it will potentially look really strange if I try to get that in place. It essentially doesn't, this part isn't looped, so it will potentially cause a bit of screwiness. So I might actually get some wood grips made up myself. Might take a bit of time, but we'll just put it together and then put the wood grip. I'll actually have to, when I do that, I'll actually go about how I actually do the wood grips, and I'll probably do a video of how I do that as well. So until then, I want to save this part because it's a really strong part, so I might actually add it onto this sucker. It's one of my excess. Fortunately, I was planning to sell it, but I don't plan to sell it anymore. So I'm thinking I might actually just put some of those parts from these ones into this one. But unfortunately, this one's a little more scratchier, so I would have to probably do like a complete overhaul. But if anyone wants me to do so, I will do so. But I'm pretty sure people will be like saying, "Oh yeah, do so, don't do so." But as you can see, a little bit of other scratchiness and so on. So obviously, I want the more nice looking one. So that aside, I'd have to take all this apart, and I guess why the heck not? So we'll just put those aside for the moment. And I guess I'll show you how to take apart the top assembly, and I might even put this part in instead, so it kind of, adds to a little bit of more dark coloring, but that's not really sure. Guess we'll find out when we get to it. Fortunately, this one is actually just kind of melded on there on the main front, as you can clearly see. As usual, I just this is just how I get the main front assembly out. As best I can, without having to do too much. This would be so much easier if I was using if I just took that off, do it, screw it. And that was probably dumb of me. I'll just actually take it off, actually. You can probably use the exact same one as this, just to... There we go. So pretty much, well, yeah, kind of put your fingers like that, like that. Push down on here, but just slightly, because sometimes a little spring that is in a certain spot, which is right here, always loves to go haywire, which can get annoying. So we'll use this one. Just make sure that they're kind of almost the same. Yeah, they should be. They look pretty much definitely compatible. This one's a little more used up a little bit, but I probably will still I might actually transfer the main barrel from this one into that one because it's a little different. Or in this case, it's different coloring, but that aside, let's take a look. Quick second. I think I'll actually just keep it on this one. Reasoning, it looks like it's in better shape, and I'd rather keep the better shape stuff actually together. So we'll probably use this one on the other silver one. So let's get that down there. Actually, I might just keep it the same, or maybe just completely swap this part out with that, but now I don't know what I want to do. Actually, I'll just keep it the way it was. Besides, I realized that this part won't even probably fit because the other part would have to be drilled out, so I just realized that was kind of stupid. But, yeah. Oh well. But I will get back to potentially departing the other one in general. To make sure that this part doesn't get screwed up or stripped, because there's some minor parts, I usually put my thumb like this to keep it from getting stripped. Put the main bolt back in here. Try to get that screwed on by fingers, just a little bit, just enough, and then potentially find your tool again. And then just start potentially, as you can see, once it starts to tighten, this thing will kind of try to twitch on my hand, see, like that. So potentially you just kind of want to keep pushing just to a point where it's not pushing too much on your hand, just in that point where you kind of notice it, and it feels like the top part is getting a bit tight. After that, just kind of, hold this down, like push down on the main weapon like this, and try to tighten it as best you can with, potentially putting your finger, your main fat part of the thumb, hold there to kind of, get that like nice and good. Should be nice and good. You don't have to like rocket tight it, because if you do, that can cause issues. You kind of want it a little bit kind of, like that, a little bit of play in it. As you can see, this thing kind of came undone, so unfortunately I'll have to take that apart. As you can see, this part came loose. That sometimes can happen. My mistake was not cocking it back. And as usual, this thing came loose, so what I did right there is I just kind of tilted it, and hoped that in general when I turned it, the inside would just find the spot that it went into. Got lucky. Now back to this. So the idea is to maybe get this part to work with that, but unfortunately, how do I get KJ parts to work with Wii, such as this? Well, we're going to try to answer that as best we can. So now the main discernible part is now to get certain other parts, which I should have, which I'll have to take a minute. I still will be needing these to fit in here to work with some of the Wii Tech parts, such as this. So I just need to grab one or two other parts, which I'll just take a minute to do so. If I have replacements. I might be not lucky enough. If I don't, then I guess I'll have to cut it short. But I'm pretty sure there's a way that I can then pretty much cut it or make it work with or without. Well, I might not have been able to find one, but we'll figure out a way how to do this. Won't be the first time. And yes, the thing was CO2, but what I want out of it is potentially the aspect of it to only be using green gas. Alright. Let's see, I'll need this again. Okay, I'll need this one again. And that. Oh, actually, this part actually might need to be swapped out. Because it's a different part for the CO2 types, and so therefore I will need to switch that. Completely forgot about that. Nope, second drawer up. Now here's the part where these kind of parts get really annoying. So, like that. Try to kind of keep your thumb there just a little bit. Try to kind of put that thumb like this, which kind of gets a little annoying. Put it like that. So hold it like this. Get that little part right there. Fortunately, that's another little thing, is that little spring needs to be kind of pushed right into that little spot. Now the other problem is that you kind of get stuck like that, so that's another little discerning trait that does make this a lot harder. The idea is to somehow get this without potentially hitting that. So you usually have to kind of go like that, as you can see, I'm doing the best I can with what I can do. So then after that, once I get that on there, try to find that little spring, and that is poking into me, so it kind of hurts just a little bit, but you kind of get used to it, like so, like that. Now I potentially put it back down to make it sure that's nice and firm. Get it like that. Now potentially proceed to grab my little trigger spring, which you don't want to lose. Put that little sucker in there, like that. Then potentially push like so. Boom, there you go. Fortunately, it will like to spring off, so before I potentially finish it, I will potentially undo that, like so. Now I just need to, I can probably use this existing trigger from my other one, because it was potentially I think a KJ Works or something that I managed to modify to work with the other one, so I'll just replace it with this one. Well, at least I found a use for it, but I'll probably end up keeping this gun for my own self then if I'm going to go this far into it, but unfortunately I already made a mistake. I forgot to put this little sucker in here, like so. I'll try to make sure that you can kind of see it through and make sure that there's no visible excess wire showing through here as best you can. And pop it into place, which can be a little hard. Make sure that that little piece, which I can't really do so well with the light, so I'll just move the light. That right there is sitting right nice and placely right there. Now, this little piece, which you'd think, well, I should do that part first. No. Well, okay, actually, I guess I do. So, pull this back like so. And as you can see, push it like that. Hold it in place. Put your thumb just on the bracket system of right on the edge, not on this. That can cause it to bend. So, push that down until it probably clips in, as you just kind of clearly heard. And then push it up like so. As you can tell, that won't work with that one, so I probably might have to use the old one, but I'm pretty sure that these main parts is all what I really need to make the gun function the way I need it to. So there we go. Mix and match parts. So now, in general, now comes the hard part, as you'd say. How do I get that little sucker? Well, if you're lucky, you can do it one-handed, which can be a little harder. Unfortunately, at best, as you can see, that's kind of driving me nuts. So, fortunately, as you can see, I can let that part go just a little, but if you're going to try one-handed, it's better to actually kind of have it upside down like so. Now, since that's now in place, not firing off, I just now push that forward like so. As you can see, that kind of went off crazy. So, same little thing. Kind of put your if you have a nail, use that to your advantage. Push it like so, and then kind of push it back into place. Now the bigger half of the gun. And as you can see, this isn't all the way back. So push forward, goes down like so. It can't be it always has to be fully in the like an L shape, like that, like loser. Like that. There we go. Now that's fine, so now it's just re-putting the screws bolts, which would be these little suckers back in. And as you can tell, I grabbed the wrong one, so that's probably the wrong one. There's that sucker. Start with the back one. You should always start with the back one when doing this, and unfortunately it's, I guess, back to front at that point. Okay, that one's clearly the wrong one, so I'll have to grab that. Okay, where the heck is that? Oh yeah, there's the other one. Just kind of forgetting where I placed them. And as you can see, I tried to, but eventually I didn't strip it, but unfortunately I'm just trying to, I slightly loosen it so it just kind of falls into place. Once it kind of, clicks, I eventually now push down just a little bit, and then kind of, slightly turn it. Not too much. You don't want to just overdo it because that will cause issues. Just to a point where it feels nice, just kind of nice and cozy. You don't want to just try to jam it on there as hard as you can. That will actually cause lots of issues down the road. But you can kind of, do it fast right there until you start to feel it kind of, tightening up, or start to kind of feel something. There we go. And like so, then eventually do so again. Just kind of get that little sucker right nice and. And kind of tighten, make sure that they're nice and tight, all of them. Now, for that same spring, same one as before, as usual. Easier to kind of go like that, then got that little peg right in there as best you can. It's pretty hard, so I'd say if you don't want to do this, then try to find somebody who is willing to. But just keep in mind, don't get angry at them if they lose the spring. So there, it sits like that. Grab your weapon again. And by the way, I haven't actually done one of these with one of these yet, so so this is potentially new for myself. I do not know if they will work properly together, but experimentation. That's kind of what I do with all my airsoft. Okay, now I need to find that other little sucker that I had earlier. Yeah, when you get closer to being done in general with all of these things, I want to admit the fact that when you think you might be losing something, but no, it's just there's now fewer parts, and you think it's oh, I missed something, but no, that's never the case. It's just the fact that you are getting closer to the end. It means if you're starting to think, oh, I've misplaced something, or I kind of lost it, then no, it's just the fact that it's probably there, or if you're unlucky enough, it did get lost. But usually it just means you're not you're just kind of clearly blind and senile like me. As usual, I don't want to just overdo it, so once I kind of feel it to tighten up, just kind of slightly poke at it like so, and then kind of try to gauge. Don't just try, but actually pushing it until it finally stops moving. You don't want that. You just kind of want to like slowly kind of try like a baby's touch kind of almost idea until it stops, and kind of, you know, kind of keep pushing just a little bit until it kind of gives you just a little bit of slack. Now to make sure that these parts work together, as usual, trigger down about that much way, then kind of, you know, let fall in place. Now since it doesn't have its spring, the easier way, push up with my thumb. Unfortunately, it looks like it doesn't seem to want to work, which is a shame. It feels like someone's kind of not quite aligned properly, which makes me a little worried. Feels like somehow that got too tight.